Sippers, welcome to this episode of the Tea With Me podcast with me, Shane Todd. Before we go anywhere, let me plug the Patreon, which is patreon.com/teawithmepodcast. We're doing a bonus episode on a Monday, live stream episode on every Friday at 2 o'clock, and loads more in between. Also got to thank everybody that came to the SSE Arena shows. Really appreciate it. We had a nice time and the crack was good. And look, by this point where this comes out, I may have announced a new show. Who knows? We're sponsored by, as always, Thompson's Tea. Those bloomin' Thompsons always making their tea. Anytime you call for one of the Thompsons, you coming out, do you want to play football? Can't, mate. Making tea. These guys have been doing that since the 1800s. That blows my mind. Since the and it's the same people, but they're just fueled by tea and they keep it going. Punjana, you think, oh, is that made somewhere exotic? It's made in Belfast, and you don't get any less exotic than Belfast. They make decaf tea, Irish breakfast. They're just running the tea game. Northern Ireland's number one selling tea. They're the OGs of tea. That's what they call themselves. They run about like, I was going to say beating up the other tea companies that don't do that, but sales-wise they do. So just keep drinking Punjana. We're fueled by it on the podcast. And we actually are, Dan, aren't we? Like, we could just say that. We actually drink another brand, but we do downstairs, we drink Punjana.
Yeah, they gave us our life supplies.
They did give us loads, in fairness, so we're just going to keep working our way through that. And we're also selling that on the side as a wee bit of a hustle. So we've got 9,000 tea bags if anyone wants to come down to the studio. We're also sponsored by Manscaped. Now, look, I thought Manscaped was just pubes, and that's okay. That's okay in life if you're just pubes. But I found out they also now do a thing called the foot duster. Now, yes, a lot of people have bad smelling feet. Couple guys in this studio. Remember you'd have a sleepover when you were like 14? Most other boys had smelly feet. But I didn't because I bathed my feet. But Manscaped have the foot duster, which is a foot deodorant. Dan, you didn't even know about it. You're looking to make sure if it's true. It is. Manscaped are a company for men's grooming products below the belt, mainly. And you know that when everything gets below the belt, it gets a wee bit sexier. And Manscaped are taking care of you. They've got a cologne, which to be fair, you should probably wear above the belt. But if you want to wear it below the belt, no one's going to stop you. Manscaped have the things like the weed whacker for nose and ear hair. They've got the perfect performance package. Shave your bits. Take care of yourself, for God's sake. Santa's going to be coming soon. That's a guy with a smooth sack. And I know because I've seen it. One year when he called down, he woke me up and showed me. Sorry if anyone watching hates that. But yeah, Manscaped have all the men's below the belt grooming products. We have a discount code, which is Tea With Me, for 20% off and free shipping. But yeah, the perfect gift for Christmas. Winter is coming, and if you are, make sure you look good doing it. My guest today is someone who, at a gig only last night or the night before, I described as, I brought him on stage and said, this guy's a great comedian, he's a good friend of mine, he's the biggest bear in the forest. Ladies and gentlemen, roar, it's Dave Elliott. Yeah. Good, it's my podcast. What are you doing?
I just that was such a nice introduction that you startled me.
You're my best friend.
Appreciate that. Sly that there are 3 other contenders in the room and you just said that
Yeah.
to me. It's hurtful.
Oh, what we're looking at is a couple of top 10 guys right here, but
Nice.
but you're top of the pops, you're number one.
Yeah, like if Bieber was back, would everyone in the room be on your like wee top 16 wall?
100%.
What about birds?
What do you mean?
You gotta let them know you're kind of interested too. So, although they're not actually your best friends, you'd maybe pop one in there just to be like, "Listen, I've got my eye on you."
Do you know how you fucked it? You put a girl too high in the top 16, and she's like, "Why am I third? I've only known you for 2 weeks."
Yeah, and you're like, that guy in the meme with his brains about to burst. You're like, "Oh, it's an accident. Oh, my sister came in and did it."
The top 16, like a lot of people watching won't know what Bebo is. Bebo was like before Facebook and Instagram, all that, but. Your top 16, you positioned in order of, here's how much I like you in my friendship.
Yeah, and I mean, what I still, in my head to this day, have a Premier League of people I like. And the good thing about it is, like, again, especially with my children, people are like, oh, do you have a favourite? And I'm like, well, it does vary. Right. But each day, like, they can do something to
be in that top.
Exactly.
So you see your friendship group in your head, if you visualise it, as a Bebo top 16?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, if I find out, like, some of my friends, or, like, say for talk's sake, I say you see a story on Instagram, you're out for, like, lunch with, like, Aaron Butler, but I've not heard about it, I'll go,
But that bumps me down.
I mean, no, I just go, well, there's some sort of dark art and deceit here.
Yeah.
Why have you not told me? At least just tell. Like, I'm a wee bit like a jealous girlfriend at some extent.
Yeah,
like,
no, you
well,
are.
like,
And
see
you
if you go
started
out with,
wearing
like,
yoga clothes.
yeah, like, I mean, listen, if you're gonna live the life, dress for the life you want.
You texted me recently and said
Mhm.
you invested in some yoga clothes, and I
Yeah.
said, "Oh, is this something you're thinking about getting into?" And you were
And
like,
I was
"No,
like,
no, no."
fashion.
Yeah.
And then I wore it to the gig. In fact, I wore it before your SSE show, and before you played the biggest show of your life, you were more obsessed with how sweet I looked for
You
a
look
change.
great.
Yeah, because
You
I
look great.
did Lavery's a few months ago and wore a non-branded Shikomo burgundy
It's
hoodie.
Giacomo.
Oh, I mean, like, the people, no, it's Shikomo. It's like whenever people say little, no, it's Lidl. You know, you gotta say it. You need a wee bit of but that's so people don't think you're a tramp, you know.
Panda
So-
chocolat.
Exactly, Panda chocolat.
No one said panda chocolate.
Panda
has-
chocolat.
Yeah.
That sounds like
Panda
a
chocolat.
very cheeky Asian man. You need to go around to Panda Chocolat's boudoir. What for? Who knows? A good time. Did you think it was Panda Chocolat?
No.
It's
No.
Pano. Pano.
Pan du chocolat.
No, it's Pano Chocolat. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think Pan Chocolat would be Pan du Chocolat would be bread of chocolate.
Well, excusez-moi, but I've made a mistake.
I mean, I didn't see us going down this.
What
this
about
road
like
straight away.
in French when you learn a bit of French in school
Yeah.
and then you think you're doing well and they're like, now there's like masculine and feminine words and you're at that point I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
gone.
I just say it more like a woman.
Yeah.
You're like, so if I'm speaking aloud, I'll be like bonjour, and if I say one bonjour, and they're like, that's not how it works. Like,
Yeah.
oh, oopsie.
I'd like to see you speak only exclusively in your feminine French accent. I think that'd
Like
be
with
fun.
English,
Yeah.
like so just now. Like, I mean, it's just a
Bonjour.
very calm voice. Bonjour, monsieur. You know, like if you're kissing, like, you
And
know,
the
in French
chocolate.
they greet if you greet a guy kissing each cheek,
Yeah.
and if you're just, you know, kissing in the feminine, you neck on.
I think you and I were probably a little bit more what would you say, like maybe a
Thick?
kissing each cheek
Oh,
kind of
sorry.
guys, and then before COVID, and since then we've not really got that back. So
Yeah.
would you be interested in like
Yeah, listen, I'm open.
that
I
again?
feel like masks
I g-
are dropping, and what's going to drop next? You know, we just get it. Yeah, I mean,
I when we were doing radio show, remember we were doing Red
Yeah.
Lockdown, like in the middle of the lockdown,
yeah.
and in BBC it was like you have to walk in within, you know, you have to walk, and then
Yeah.
I had to wait 10 minutes to walk into the same corridor, and you had to breathe into your shoe, and you had to close both eyes. Remember there was like all
Yeah,
the
there's a
safety
lot.
stuff, walk
Yeah.
clockwise, and you know all this kind of stuff. And then we were walking through a corridor after a show, and I gave you a kiss in the cheek,
Yeah.
and you were like, "You can't, don't do
No.
that."
Because I just thought in BBC there'd be people watching,
Right.
you know, because there has factually been a time before where I have said something like innocuously, maybe on a podcast I thought no one would hear, and they were listening in there.
Yeah.
They're like, we can't have you do this because we heard you say something about BBC.
Well, what'd you say?
I just made a wee
Oh, no.
comment about, you know, something on BBC not being amazing. How dare I, you know?
Right.
And they were like, we can't have you on because you slandered us. And I'm like, well, what did I say? And then they were like, they had like it recorded on the computer, this. And I was like, well, that's not me. And they go, what's on your podcast? I'm like, well, I could have been a guest. You don't have guests. Well, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
And then they played it, and it was like, I mean,
yeah.
I didn't think it was that bad. And then the guy who played it to me was like, well, you're right, but just don't be sensitive.
How naughty would you say in general you're on a scale of 1 to 10?
In
10
just
being really naughty
like
and 0
generally or in the
yeah,
bedroom?
just generally, like, and the
Alright.
I'm talking about the real you, like
Yeah.
in how naughty do you think you are?
Oh, I mean, that's a
You're
very
naughty,
tough
like you're
yeah.
naughty, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I have a problem that if I see something, I automatically think, wouldn't it be funny if I did this? That's my first thought.
Yeah.
And then I do that, and sometimes I haven't thought it through what I've done. Like, for example, I remember once when I was in school, a friend of mine, we were doing art, and we were like, whatever. I thought to
Are you DJ?
and I thought to myself, wouldn't it be funny if I put a bit of glue on this guy's hand? Like, how banter am I? I didn't realise that the glue from the glue gun was scalding hot. So I was sitting like putting loads of glue on this bit of balsa wood, and he was sitting there like this. And I went, and when I lifted it off, I took like half the top of his hand off with it too, and he had to go to like hospital. Like the nurse had to take him to hospital. But I just thought that was a bit of banter, but really it had
Yeah, you
Bad
do look like the
connotations.
sort of guy who would do stuff like that and be like, I
Yeah.
didn't know.
But then
It's
I'd
good.
do stuff. But then I'd be like,
You killed
yeah.
like 4
But
people
then I
in
would say to
secondary
them
school.
after, I'd be like, why are you being a dick for? Don't fucking get me in trouble. And it's like, my hand's full. You've burnt my hand live here. But yeah, I can't help it. I feel like, you know, I like to be a bit naughty. And then sometimes when I do it, people are like, you can't be naughty. What are you doing? Like,
Do you get to
you're
a certain
cancelling
age,
yourself.
do you think, where you can't be naughty?
I think definitely you get to an age where you have to be less naughty.
Yeah, what
Because
age?
I mean, I think I've hit
28?
that age. Yeah, I think the sort of, you know, whenever like your friends are all maturing ahead of you, they're all, because there was a period of time before I was married, before I had any kids, I was like the single one in my group of friends, and I had a mate who actually used me as an excuse. He'd be like, oh, Dave made me do it to his wife, and then I wondered why his wife wouldn't speak to me.
Why'd you kill this prostitute?
Yeah, oh, it was Dave. But she'd be like it was one that he went out with a group of workmates and got absolutely hammered, didn't come home till like quite late. Next day, couldn't look after the kids, he's dying. She's like, you're a disgrace and all. Why'd you do that? I was like, oh, I hadn't seen Dave in ages, and he told me to. Whereas I was sitting all wrapped up in bed, you know. And then he rang me next morning, like, can you do me a solid? And it's like, oh, Mrs. hates me, and I'd rather hate you than me. So
Because I've known you for so long, but I only really picture you as like a married guy, like a married dad.
Yeah.
Like you used to live, I remember you used to live in the Lisbon Road and have like flatmates,
yeah,
loads, like
Yeah.
foreign people and stuff.
yes. I mean, I'm an
That was
open
a
guy. I
weird
welcome
time.
everybody. You know, there's
Yeah.
no, like you look at me like foreigners.
No.
Yeah,
No, I just with your stance, I just
Yeah.
didn't think. But yeah, you used to live with like I remember there's a French guy. Like that was when I
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
got to know you really.
Eve, yeah, good guy.
What?
Eve,
That was his name?
yeah.
Was he a fan of Panda chocolate?
I mean, he was the fan of Babe Station. I don't know about Panda Chocolate, but he definitely.
Like he didn't
Like-
give a fuck, or he was
No,
secretly
well,
watching
one
it?
of the greatest moments, I went out with my housemate who was, you know, a local only white guy, friend of mine, and we're heading to the pub here, Dave, do you want to come? And he was like, no, monsieur. And I said, dead on, and just call me Dave. And we went out, and I went out, and I said, oh, bollocks, I forgot my wallet, like back in the days when you needed a wallet. So we went back to get my wallet, and by the time we had left, and went in the living room, Eve had just dropped to the floor, like he was on the floor, lying on the ground, and we were like, you alright, mate? And looked at the screen, just full Babe Station, so he must have just been pulling the wire of himself, heard the door go, and his first moves to dive to the ground, so he either really hurt himself or was just trying to hide it, but he didn't acknowledge we were there, so we were alright.
I don't think you need you don't need to hide Babe Station.
No.
There's something about Babe Station
Yeah.
that's funny. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you could have Babe Station on as ambient. I think.
Yeah.
I don't think it's socially.
what would have been 10 out of 10 would if he was just sitting with a cup of tea or something, it on the TV, we walked in, he just went, bonsoir.
Yeah.
We'd have gone, alright.
There's something aggressive about
Yeah.
watching the pornies
Yeah.
with a cup of tea, just
Yeah.
watching, just watching.
I was a friend of mine, a guy I used to work with, right? He was telling me a story about a mate of his. They call him Tea and Toast. And I, why you
His
call him,
hold on.
nickname's Tea and Toast. And I'm like, why you call it Tea
It's
and
a
Toast?
shit nickname.
Yeah, but I'll tell you why. 'Cause he said one of his mates was a window cleaner. So he said he went to the Tea and Toast house one day, and he was cleaning the windows, and he just saw in the movie, big blue movie on the screen, and he just saw his arm going a fucking dinger like. And he said the weirdest thing about it was he looked aside and he had a big plate of toast and a pot of tea sitting beside him. So he's like,
As in,
yeah.
ready to have after.
I don't know whether that
Or-
gets him going or whatever, but he said it was too much toast and too big a pot of tea. So yeah, you're dehydrating yourself. But he was like, you know, ever since he's just been called Tea and Toast.
I think 3 rounds of toast is too much toast.
Yeah, but
And
I
if
mean,
you're watching porn, like
yeah, but like back in the day too, like they were saying it was like you had the videos and all, so like had to have actually gone, cut the video, got himself ready. This was an
Right.
event for him.
Yeah,
it wasn't
yeah.
like nowadays you whip your phone out and oh,
do you?
there you go. Well, my dad's
Fucking gross.
and but
You
know,
whip your dad's dick out and then you watch
no, my
porn?
dad's phone.
Oh right.
Like,
Alright.
but yeah, so like back in the day, it was a bit of you had to make a deal of it. You know, you got you
Yeah.
had to barter. You know, you swap your tapes.
I remember. You remember watching Eurotrash and being like,
Oh
"This
my
might
God.
be as graphic as it gets."
Yeah, like I would be more of a softcore fan because of Eurotrash. I think like I always enjoyed just a little sneaky bit of boob here and then the full,
Sneaky boob. You like sneaky
yeah,
boob?
I like because I mean I think nowadays people are spoiled, aren't they? They just see anything that's graphic and all, and people are like
Yeah.
putting stuff into people and farting stuff out of themselves and all, and you're going, I don't need to see it. That's stinking. You know what I mean? Just give us a wee boop, and you're happy as Larry.
You sneaky boob, so like
Yeah.
surprise boob or
Yeah, like
whatever.
we thought about it,
Yeah.
like that was the highlight. Like Eurotrash was all about that.
Yeah. I would just love to see you at City Hall leading some sort of like rally where you're like, listen, people are sticking things in people, out of people. And I like it if you just went really against porn. I'd like if you were
Yeah.
the guy who got porn banned.
I mean, but then what would happen would be there would be some sort of like newspaper article. They get into my internet and then it'd be like, Bit rich, isn't it?
Yeah, horny hypocrite. You in the front page of the Sunday World.
I mean, see if you stuck.
You 100% look like a guy who would advocate for the banning of porn, and then they find out like you have some mad shit on your hard drive.
I know. Like, well, I mean, just normal shit. Let me just point out, but yeah, more. All I would say is it's more than just a little bit of boob. Like, there's that. Like, and it is what it is.
What was the first porn? Do you remember the first porn you ever watched?
No, I don't. I thought it would have been like. I would have seen a magazine probably first. I would have said.
I remember being in a friend's house, and there was quite a lot of us in his house one day.
Yeah.
And he had. Do you remember? Did you ever have chip cable tail?
No.
You didn't?
No.
Are you scared to say you had chip cable?
No, I was well off growing up.
Oh yeah, fair.
Yeah.
But there used to be a guy who could come around to your house with cable tail, which was like the early Sky, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
And there was like, I don't know, 100 channels, and channels 61 and 62 were the pornies.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember one of our mates, there was like 8 of us in his house, just like one afternoon and one summer his mum and dad weren't in, and he stuck the pornies on.
Yeah.
And I think everyone in my friendship group had seen it before, but I hadn't. So everyone's like, laughing at it and stuff, and like half watching it, and I'm like, And I was very asthmatic as a kid.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it for like 3 minutes, and then really, really starting to get a wheeze on.
Yeah.
And then I took my inhaler, and everyone laughed like I'd done it as like a bit.
Yeah.
You know, but genuinely, I thought I was going to die.
Oh, did he? So?
Yeah, there was more than that.
What a way to go.
There was more than that.
Yeah.
I was like, how is that? That's like when I used to start going on nights out, and you'd see like, you know, when you were like 16. No.
What
that feeling is reminiscent of when I started going
okay.
nights out. And you would see, what about the first time you went on a night out, right?
Yeah.
Like at Limelight School Disco or something, but they used to do school disco nights when you're like 18, and you see 2 girls kissing on the dance floor, and everyone's like, look at that, and you're just going...
Tell you what I do. I'd be straight on the PSNI and get that fucking shit to jail. Way to go. Stinking. Come on.
You report it.
Sort yourself out. Come on, stinking. Yeah. But like, what is it about though? Especially, it was like, do you remember it was the teenage boy's dream was like I started off the 10-minute free view, then it cut it to 5, and then it was 2.
Oh yeah.
So it was like they're really. But why was it the most aggressive, like, pitch you'd ever see? That people are like, oh, watch. I was always like the music. Come here, you fucking slag. And I was like, why are people watching this going, that's what I want? He goes, oh, fucking ram it up your ass. It's like, all right, Jesus Christ. Like.
The first time I ever properly watched it, it was a Britney Spears parody on like TVX, and she was called Titney Spheres. And
to be fair, that's good.
I think she was in the recording studio to do "Fuck Me One More Time," and hey, the producer, let's just say he did.
Yeah,
he did.
And I mean, that's frowned upon nowadays in the music industry, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like back in those days.
Oh,
what is Titney Spheres doing? Like when she turns up to the studio, she's kind of like.
I think she's just bust.
Just singing.
You know, I think she's pretty.
But I mean,
done.
Speaking of great, the thing is about porn is
you look like a semi-retired male porn star.
I mean, yeah, I do. I mean, I could well play that role until.
Who's the guy with the long hair? The guy, and then he's French.
Was there a guy called Johnny Marino? I think he was in a lot of the British ones.
I think he's a cat dealer from Belfast.
I mean,
Johnny Marino. Johnny Marino coming up the house here, Mar.
Johnny Marino was a solid left back for Hollywood. His name was Johnny. He just lived across from the Shell garage. But yeah, could someone look up if there is an actor called Johnny Marino? I think he had long hair, and he was like the Television X Freeview guy. It was Johnny Marino. Yeah.
Johnny Marino. Bet it's not. I'm talking about the French guy. I think he went by just one name, and he was in some movies, like as in like mainstream movies. Cameo. He had like long hair, and his house was like he was like a slob. They were like this. Tony,
was this in the movie or his real life?
In his real life, would you look up famous French male porn star? You got it.
Is that Johnny Marino?
Johnny Marino was real. That's the stats for Dundela for the 99-00 season.
Does he have any like what's it?
Dance Day play a bit of his movies in.
He's a popular Hollywood actor.
Johnny Marino.
So has he done porn?
Type Johnny Marino porn in. See what you get. What is it about porn searches too? They're so basic, you know. You pick a person's name and a body part, search. Johnny Marino, wab.
Johnny Marino, knee. Johnny Marino, bro.
But I tell you what, the thing I do enjoy the most about porn, aside from the porn, is is you know the way they make like remakes of Hollywood films, and they just give them a slight like a twist of like a parody name.
Yeah.
For example, Edward Penis Hands is just a guy with two big roots instead of hands, right? The best one I ever saw, and I remember laughing my head off at this, was they did a parody of Men in Black. And it was just called Men in Black, Man.
Is it good?
I mean, it's better than some of the actual sequels, to be fair. You know?
Johnny Marino. I like that Johnny Marino's just a genuine actor, and you've claimed he's a big porn star.
I mean,
if you were like back in the day when you were like a single young guy, would you, for the right money, would you have done porn?
I think anyone would have at a time. Like,
Yeah.
Eric Everhard's another one.
Eric Everhard?
Yeah. Like if he's just a regular, like he's Neighbours or something, I mean, I'll bet like they've done him again.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You're like, oh, I nearly said Rolf Harris. But
he's a dodgy fella now, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
All the good ones.
Look at your face. You're like, you think you know someone.
All the good ones are fucking dirty bastards. Don't you?
Yeah, that's true, man. But
Your
look,
man out of Art Attack, he's not done in, has he?
Neil Buchanan.
No, he's clean.
Well, he's now paint all over him.
But he'd be one I'd go on though.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you remember the other guy that used to do the kids' TV shows? He that killed himself.
Mark Spade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things were tough for him for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just so to show you, you'd be happy. On
So, like,
TV.
where do you get your
Sad man.
influences from in comedy? Is your material like all yours, or do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, people say that.
Yeah.
Do you write your own jokes and all?
But I mean, some people don't. You know,
Yeah,
some
that's
people
true.
like see other acts and just rip it off.
Like, anyway,
Yeah.
there's a lot I want to chat to you about, David.
Okay. Yeah.
But let's start off with this.
Mhm.
Let's start off with this.
Yes.
You have done something to me
Oh.
recently. I got tagged in an Instagram story last night. Somebody was at a pub quiz. And in the background, I could see the projector, and the question was, who is this local comedian? And it was a picture of me. But it's that picture that you photoshopped. So they've done a Google search, and it's me doing promo pics for Radio Ulster, and it's that one where you've taken my right eye and turned it a lot more right, and you've taken my left eye and made it look a lot more
But
left.
it's so subtle. That's why it's so funny.
Yes, and I bet you people fucking got the answer. That's what pisses me off.
The three things: I moved the eye slightly, made the ears a bit bigger, and the teeth yellower, and that's all it is. But it's enough that like you could put it up, and unless you were going,
Yeah.
you wouldn't see it, and that's the best for
But
me.
you know that gets me so bad.
Yeah.
Like, I fucking hate that.
It was like the Radio Ulster. I think it was last time we were here. We spoke about it. The promo pic.
long
It just made your
fingers.
fingers get longer every time,
I hate
and
that.
you were sharing it every week.
Do you know what that is?
Sharing it.
Do you know what that is? Naughty.
Yeah, that is naughty.
That's naughty.
But it was. I tell you something I did that was again. So we were speaking about naughty. When I was in work one day, it's a couple of years ago, I was working with these, like, it was just me and like these 5 sort of like 60-year-old women. So you know when you're around like that, you're like a chameleon. You sort of change your and I was just the campest, most fun guy to work with these old women, and I would be all, stop it, David, you're a wee chancer now, like you.
Yeah.
And I was like this. So one day, one of them left their computer open, like. So I thought for a bit of banter, I would just, go in and look something funny up in Google Images, leave it, she'd come back and be like, what's he like? So I went in and I typed in sexy Asian bodybuilders, topless, right? So I went in and looked it up and just got all these like jacked Asian guys, like topless, just on the screen, locked the computer. That was fine. But I didn't realise it was the end of the week. She'd just gone home over the weekend, left it on, come back in on Monday, opened her computer up, and rang me. Was like, did you look up like topless Asian guys on my computer? And I was like, very obviously, I went, no, me. And she went, oh no, it must be a virus, right? And
If it is, that's where it's come from.
So rather than me go, I was very naughty. So rather than me go, I let it simmer.
Yeah.
So then she phoned like the help desk and all. And then she was like, listen, I've gone out for whatever reason. It's just popping up these naked men on my computer. And the guy on the other side was like, well, what you've done, what's happened here is you've gone into Google and you've typed in like hot Asian guys, and that's why it's there. She's like, no one ever. No. She's a wee old woman from West Belfast raging on, no one ever didn't know. And he was like, well, I'm telling you, we've tracked it back and this is what's happened.
Yeah.
And then she got raging, and then a whole big thing went around to be like, you have to lock your computer for safety and data protection and all. And I still haven't told her this day that was
But
me.
the thing is, the reason why you've mugged her there is because it's specific.
Yeah.
If it was sexy bodybuilder guys,
Yeah.
that's a prank. If it's sexy Asian bodybuilder guys,
Yeah.
that's a kink. You know what I
Panda
mean?
chocolat.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so she doesn't know that was me, which is
Yeah,
good.
that is kind of mischievous. Like everyone did that at school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Change the background, do all that sort of thing,
Yeah, the classics.
and that. You phoned me during the week and said that you like played a prank on your mum,
No,
and you thought that
no, this wasn't a prank. This was just bad timing. But it was one of the worst and also best moments of my life simultaneously. Like, for anyone that doesn't know, I was unwell last week. Like, really nearly died of a cold, and it was a bit touch and go.
you
Like,
died of cold.
yeah, it's a bad cold, right? So I had obviously to look after the girls because fucking my kids and all, and my mum and dad were like, "Listen, you look really bad. We'll take the girls for you?" I said, "No worries, no problem. Thank you so much." Left it. They went, come got the girls. I was like in my dressing gown at the door. On you go,
Eric Everhart.
Johnny Marino, just favourites, you know. So they took the girls, and I was fine. I said, "Look, I'll come and get them." So this would be a Friday night. I went round to collect them, and I went in, and both my mum and dad were like startled when they saw me. They're like, "You look terrible." And I was like, "Well, I feel much better than I did, yesterday." And my mum was like, "No, you're really pale. Like you're almost your skin. You look like you're dead." And my dad was like, "Yeah, it looks like you're about to go into organ failure, mate." And I was like, "All right, Dr. Elliott, like what the fuck?" And I was like, "Well, I feel much better." And you don't get defensive. "Well, I feel much better." And my mum was like, "Yeah, you look bad. Like your skin's pale. You're very fat." And I was like, "Well, that's nothing to do with the cold." And she's like, "But yeah, you should do something about it. You're jolly." And I went, "All right, that's fine." Took the girls.
Look like a turkey.
Yeah.
You look like a swollen turkey.
Just a little, and I was like, don't touch me there. So I took the girls, went home, I was fine. Then once the girls were bathed, put them to bed, I was like, right, I'm still feeling a bit shit. I had your show to go to the next night, didn't want to be sick, so I went to bed at like 8 o'clock. Slept. When I woke up in the morning, I had like messages from my mum and dad. "Are you alright, son? Just checking you're alright. Answer me." And missed calls and all. And I was like, oh no. So they're home thinking, I've died.
They thought you might have gone in the night.
I might have. I mean, that's a nice way to put it. That's another thing. It's just a side note. See when people he's gone home. He hasn't. Like a big man went home last night. Like he died. It's a weird thing to put it, isn't it? And then I'd be the worst. If like you lose a grandparent and all, people put photos up of them holding their hands.
Yeah.
Imagine just my big fucking fat trotter. There he goes. He's away. So I woke up, text him, said I'm fine. They're like, "Listen, if you're still feeling a bit rough, come around, watch the football with your dad, make lunch. You'll help the girls a bit." So I said, "That's great." Went round, watched the football, had your show to go to at night, so I was a bit rushed with stuff. Catherine, my wife, was working, so I went home. I got the girls back. Catherine came and was like, "Have you walked the dog?" And I was like, "No." So amongst everything, I hadn't walked the dog, still feeling a bit sick. So she's like, "You need to walk him, you need to tire him out before you go to the show." And I've obviously felt bad, again, leaving there with the girls, so to get ready for your show. So I thought, I know my parents have this big field down the side of their house, so I'll go park there, bring a dog down, fire a ball for him, tire him out, that'll be grand. So I'm heading over, my mum already worrying about me. I ring her, I'm like, "Listen, my car's going to be parked outside your house. Don't worry, I'm not coming in or anything. I'm just there to walk the dog, so nothing's happened. There's nothing to worry about. Relax." She goes, "All right, okay." So I go park the car, bring the dog down, firing a ball for him. Firing, he's coming back. It's grand. He's firing again. He brings me. Then I fire it. He's just not coming back. He's like sniffing around, sniffing his bits, chasing his tail. I'm like, "Vinny, come on, fucking time, come on." He's not coming. And it's really starting to stress me out. And I'm like, and he's miles away, so he can't even like just chase him. When you do chase him, he thinks you're playing a game. I was like, "Vinny!" And nothing. And I was like, fuck's sake. And I remembered we got a book when we were training the dog. Like part of it was how to like work on recall and stuff. And in the book, it said that if your dog's not coming back to you, if you pretend that you're in some sort of trouble, the dog will come and check on you. So similar sort of way as if like a bear's going to kill you, you play dead, and the bear won't eat you. You know, he thinks. So I thought to myself, I'll pretend to be dead. Like, I'll lie down on the ground, here are my arms by my side, and pretend to be dead. So I lay down on the ground, facing the ground, arms by my side,
down.
like face, like flat, like I was planking on the ground. Bag of dog shit beside me, and the wee thrower at the hand, right? I'm lying there.
Hold on. Thrower as in like
You know the wee...
you're falling with it, as in like
So it just looked like, it was on the ground. So I'm lying there on the ground, eyes closed, and I'm waiting for the dog to come, right? And I'm expecting to hear his feet coming to check on me. But the only sound I hear before I hear this is, David! Ah! Because my mum, unbeknownst to me, when I rang her and said I was going to walk a dog, she thought to herself, wouldn't it be nice if I stick the lead in our dog and come and meet him? So she's gone home. Stuck a lead in her dog, come down for a wee walk with me and my dog to see me from about 200 metres. Lying face down the ground. Effectively dead. She's going, he's dead. So I hear my 65-year-old mother running. And then eventually I was like, it's two minds to stay there and wait for the dog. Because, I mean, you have to give it time or do a letter, you know, and obviously I waited till she did mouth to mouth and then, yeah. But that was an awkward moment, was there, but...
that's
times.
That's a point where you probably need to go on a health kick when your mum thinks you've died over maybe he's trying to get the dog back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But I mean, to be fair, if I think about it, it doesn't look like I'm in a good way.
Yeah.
Completely still, the dog's just around, like,
I mean, if you were
away.
lying there with your eyes open,
Yeah.
texting, you know,
Yeah.
oh, come on, dog.
Johnny Marino on the phone.
But it's a fact that you're like a method actor.
Yeah.
And you've gone face down with the catcher out
but
to one side.
But the arms by my side. Like, I just set the catcher and the dog poo. I was like, oh.
I don't know why, but you won't die. Like, you will definitely die with your bags around your ankles.
I know.
I just know. I don't know doing what.
Yeah.
But like you'll die with your bags.
A
around your
guy
ankles.
who, when he died, was in a similar sort of physique and looked to me was Elvis.
Yeah.
Like, he's a guy having a cheeseburger in the toilet.
Yeah.
That's a good way to go.
That is a good way to go because you've lived a life. Like that's the way you go.
Apparently too, I don't know if this is true or I've made it up, but either way I'm going to say it. Apparently that one of the things you do before you die is a massive shit. Like apparently it's your body's way of just getting it all out of you and then you die. So that's what happened to Elvis.
Well, that's because you don't want to go up to the St. Peter and the pearly gates.
Yeah.
And initiate.
I know, that'd be awkward. Be like,
he's like, you know, here, well, you know, you're going to bring you into heaven. You're, yeah.
You're gaff stuffy, mate, but where's the shitter?
Yeah.
Right there under the stairs, mate. Serious.
I don't think I've ever played dead, but I do remember the darkest humor of all time was my granny. You know the way when like grannies and grandads, like your granny's in hospital here, and you know we don't know what's happening, but you're like prepared for it. I've told you before, haven't I? So like, you're like prepared for it, and like, I think my granny, there was maybe 3 or 4 occasions where she was in hospital, and you were sort of a kid, but told.
Did you just roll your eyes there?
No.
Here she is 3 or 4 times.
no.
Again.
But I mean, like, it's tough because as a parent, you know. But my dad would have said things like, you know, we hope she's going to be okay, but we're going to do all we can. And she always like kept her humor up as well, right?
Say your dad, what a fucking shit dad. He's like, listen, I hope she'll be okay. But
hope she'll be alright, but you know what I mean. She might,
just be ready.
Die. So my dad took 2 of my cousins up to see her, and they would have been about 12 and 13 at the time. My dad took them up, and my granny was sitting with my uncle Jim at the time, and she was sitting there chatting to him because he was up seeing her first. You know, you got like an hour visiting. Yeah. And Jim goes, "Oh, Dennis is coming up with two of my cousins."
Yeah. Who can you name your cousins? Or the cousins?
I can't remember. So Jim goes, "Dennis is coming up with two of the kids," and my granny went, "When you hear the lift, or like when you see him like from down the corridor," she goes, "Tell me."
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So she's chatting away with Jim. And then Jim goes, I think that's him. My granny just grabbed the white like blanket that was on her, put it over her, and said, "Put your head in your hands," and just lay there and didn't move. So Jim was like, and by the way, how sick of him that also he just was like, all right, well, and he put his head in his hands, and he said, my dad walked in first, and Jim looked at my dad and went, No. Which is like horrific if it's just my dad.
Yeah.
But there's 2 kids there as well who are coming up to see their granny, and they walked in and the first one they went, "Granny!" and then the other one like started to like nearly cry, like it was all quick moment, and then my granny just like apparently you could just see like the shoulders going under the blanket, and then she just
Hey, a Budweiser
here's
effort.
Granny, she's back. Yeah. I mean, like that's sick.
Yeah, but I mean, it's good banter too. Like.
Because even like and you know that's like the boy who cried wolf. Because even like at the funeral, I was like.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's the best banter when people are really sick and they find it within themselves to pull out a joke.
Yes.
Like my aunt was dying of cancer, and I went to see her one day. And she pretended to poke on me, like she was sitting at the side, and I was sitting beside her. She went and pretended to poke, and like my natural reaction, I just jumped up and fucking knocked her out. Like, I was like, "Fuck, don't be at that. Like, but it was good crack.
I get weird. I don't like to see bodies. Call me weird, but see open casket.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
No,
Do
it's
you like
weird.
it?
No, because
Do you like it?
no, I don't. But like, why I don't like it is it's see when you're an alive person, like you like when you come here to you're somebody that's very particular about your style.
I'm very alive. Too.
Yeah, so you're alive and you style yourself.
Yeah.
But when no one else styles you. So anytime I've seen people like,
Panda chocolate.
like my family have died and I've seen them in a coffin.
Hold on, that's a lot because I love your mum and dad. But your family have died,
Yeah, when my mum saw me die, it triggered a massive. And
they're all gone.
Yeah, all gone. Yeah, yes, I'm like Stalin. Once one goes, I'm like that. They know too much.
So sorry, when people in your family die.
So my point is, like, whenever you're like, you do your own hair, you shave yourself and all. But when you die, you go to this random dude, the Undertaker. It's like style them. So then they style them how they kind of want them to look. So any relative of mine haven't looked like themselves in the coffin. Like my granddad, he died and he looked like me, a little bit balder, but old.
Really?
And he just wore a blue shirt, right? Blue shirt all the time. That was him. Smoked constantly. That was it. When he died, he looked like Frank Sinatra. I'd like put a hairpiece on him or something. He looked like 40 years younger. I'm like,
Porcelain,
"Folks,
like
you know,
porcelain face. Do you know what? I'm very like relaxed on death.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not someone who like particularly like you can't know until you're like faced with it. But like I'm very like laid back about that.
Yeah.
But you've now made me the opposite because my main worry is that like what if when I die and I'm in a coffin or something. What if he like does my quiff? The Undertaker goes, I think he wears his quiff to the right.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't, mate. It goes to the left. It's a natural
But
bunch.
what happens if he just wants to comb your hair right back and it's like, a pompadour?
I would honestly like I would hate that.
A true thing. Like this, I remember at the time being like, "What are you doing?" When my granny died, like she had been sick for a long period and lost a lot of weight. So naturally, when you're old, your skin's not as sweet as it was.
Cute.
So whenever she was in the coffin, like her skin, like her smile didn't look like her smile. It was sort of a bit like the Joker out of Batman. You know, it was like.
Was just done.
But my dad was kind of like trying to find another tape. Can you put some fucking cotton wool in her cheeks or something? Like she doesn't look like herself. I think that. Don't worry about it. And he was going, do you have a fucking cotton bud or something? And I'm like, you're not, what are you going to do?
A cotton bud?
So he thought, fatten out her cheeks. Because she didn't look like herself. So then I was thinking to myself, is he going to try, am I going to watch my dad let someone go and seeing your mum just fucking sticking cotton buds in their cheeks?
Don't talk about the corpse of your granny and go see someone.
No, that's sorry. And then, see.
Your granny died in 9/11. Is this granny died in 9/11?
Is it the granny? No, my other granny died in 9/11.
But just to clarify, not.
No, she died on the 11th of November, or the 9th of November, yeah.
But here?
Yes, here, of course. No, but she, that was a sly again, because I mean, I don't know if I should say this, because I've said this recently, and people are like, don't say it here. And I was like, mate, back to 1940 or whatever, I'm from mixed marriage, right? So I go to Prod funerals, I go to Catholic funerals, I love them both,
Love them.
Yeah, and why is it every time I come on this podcast, we talk about funerals and death?
I don't know.
I don't know, it's foreboding. But I was with my granny who died in 9/11. She obviously had an open casket.
I thought you were going to say bar.
No, but she just had a heart attack and died and fell in a rake in the garden. So they were like, she's all bruised and all. So they like I don't know whether to put a tea towel over or something, but it was not.
As in
pleasant.
she stood on it.
No, she just had a heart attack and dropped.
Oh, and fell on a
landed.
rake that was already on the ground. I was going to say that is like quite a slapstick way to go.
It is, yeah.
If like you take your final steps and then you stand on the rake and it.
I'd be Mr. Bean. How you go, like. But yeah. So she like I had to like put like a big sheet over her and all, and it was pretty sad.
Yeah, Mr. Bean. Like I hope Rowan Atkinson eventually dies in a funny way.
Yeah.
You know what I
he
mean?
has
Like
to.
something just
Like
out
if
of...
he falls off a building, like the start of Mr. Bean, and you're like, I. And you're like, nice.
I remember watching the episode of Mr. Bean where he needed to paint his flat and he couldn't be bothered like painting the walls and doing a
Yeah.
couple of coats. So he covered everything in newspaper and set off like a wee bit of an explosion
Yeah.
with white paint. and I used to watch Mr. Bean and go, but what is the problem with that?
Yeah.
Like what's the issue?
No, Mr. Bean was great, and what's great about Mr. Bean is now there's a cartoon series, so I can
right.
like my daughter watches Mr.
Mr. Bean is one of the funniest things. Like Mr. Bean is also funny all around the world.
Yeah.
Like he's popular in like all different places. Like there'll be Taliban guys right now
Yeah.
sticking a bit of Bean on. Like.
Yeah. No, he's universally brilliant because
Yeah.
he doesn't speak very much. He's "Arr,"
Yeah.
and he just gets into
Hello.
trouble. Hello.
Maybe we should start doing that in stand up. Be universal stars.
But do you remember? You ever remember the time? I don't know for what reason. He was like a B&Q or something doing some DIY. And he couldn't fit all his gear into his Mini, so he was driving his Mini on the roof. No, he bought a seat, so he's on top of on a seat, and he had like a mop, and he was driving. And people were like, "What's Bean at here?" Like, and he's
What about the episode where he went to the swimming pool and like the kids egged him on to go off the top diving board, and he was holding
Hanging
on like that. Like Mr. Bean is, and in the movie, remember the movie he was working in an art gallery, and there was the famous painting. And there was something on it, and he like spits on a hanky, and then starts to wreck a paint, and he has to replace it. And
Can I just say, I think you've done the most unbelievable full circle here, because you know on Mr. Bean's holiday, when he's like running about with a wee boy, and there's a woman who's like his love interest in it. You know, I think her name's Emily de Koon, who is Antoine de Koon's daughter, the host of Eurotrash. What about that? There we go. Mr. Bean and Eurotrash. Have some of that. I mean, by the way, I'd like to see Mr. Bean
So
and Eurotrash. Yeah. Imagine if
She's
can you look up if there's a Mr. Bean porn, please?
as in a parody.
Or if just Rowan Atkinson's sex tape, I'd watch either. But imagine
Flicking the Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean.
Yeah, there you go. But imagine how bumping.
Mr. Bean got her butt. All takes place in a Mini.
But I mean,
Imagine the hijinks that
the bumbling.
ensues.
He'd be like, he'd be great.
Keir stick goes up his arse.
Yeah.
Teddy tags in.
When he comes, he just goes. Can you imagine the facials of Rowan Atkinson doing a sex scene? It'd be amazing. Mr. Bean.
That's enjoyable.
Please,
That's
can
really
you
enjoyable.
please see if this exists? If there is a Mr. Bean.
I don't think there will be.
Well, I mean,
No, Tony?
guys,
He's checking it out.
love that.
Yeah. Big show coming up next month. Big shooter.
Yeah.
And can we talk about like career? Can we
Yeah,
say,
we
say
can.
that?
We can talk about anything you want.
You're jacking it in, not comedy, but like your
Yeah.
9 to 5,
I am. Yeah, I'm going full time.
full time
Yeah.
funny man.
Just full time funny man, full time dad, full time carer, community worker,
Yeah.
all in one. Aye. So.
But
so
like
exciting.
that's a big move
Yeah.
to leave the security of a job and go into
Yeah.
the haha biz.
Into the lulls, yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But I just sort of figure that there's no time like the present in the middle of a global pandemic to
Why not?
jack the job in and
Why not?
a couple of kids, house mortgage, fuck that. I'll
Yeah.
come and tell me tales, yeah. So
Do you
I'm just
think
gonna-
some people will think you just go to like a joke shop every day?
I don't know, because what's funny, in my day job, would work with like a lot of communities and stuff, and the amount of times people go, I heard you're a comedian, and I'd be like, yeah, he goes, you're not funny, mate, you're fucking boring and all. I'm like, yeah, what do you want me to be doing?
Yeah, you're at these community meetings about funding, mate, and you're bringing no punchlines to it.
Yeah,
You're just telling us about ways to get funding and all.
yeah, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
and what do you want me to do? Like, come in and be like, oh, tell me jokes and all? Like, it's called being professional.
Yeah.
Now, as the time starts ticking towards me leaving, I start throwing in a few hijinks. Very possibly.
But it's a couple of weeks away, and then
Yeah.
you're gonna do it.
Yeah, and it's exciting, but it's also equally terrifying too.
You're taking a year
a
break.
year off, but
but
I don't want to go back.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Are you treating it like a year off, or are you in your head going, I'm just?
Well,
going
just
off
got a
and do
new
this
Sky
thing?
contract for 18 months, so I'm at least taking.
Present to be for
No,
a show.
just getting the sports package and cheaper internet. But
All
I'm
right.
gonna.
I thought you were. This is your way of dropping that you've got an exclusive.
That's my
network
way.
deal with
That's
Sky.
what I want to do with that is me like I want to not be at work before the bloody end of my Sky contract's up. So at least 18 months. So if a lot I need to be doing, to be.
See, when you do it full time, all
Yeah.
you do is in the morning, you go to the joke shop, see what they have, a ham buzzer.
Yeah. Are you like in the joke shop with all the other full-time comedians as well?
Me, Mickey, and Colin meet up every
Yeah.
morning, and Jimmy Cricket, and go to the joke shop, and
Does
yeah.
Tim ever come in?
Huh?
Or Tim McGarry? Is he too busy out peddling gear?
yeah, he's too bad. I forgot that is the showbiz feud that just will not go away.
Yeah.
You and Tim McGarry.
Yeah, but listen, you know, you call a spade a spade.
And you call Tim
drug
a...
dealer, you know. There you go.
Do you know what's really sound? There's a comedian that's home for a while, and he's going to do the podcast, but he can only do today.
Okay.
And I was like, should I move things around? And then we were like, no, we'll just keep it the way it is.
Nice.
That's pretty sound.
And who is it? Can
Can't
you
say. Can't say.
Can you tell me off air?
I just give you a major clue.
Oh, I know exactly who it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be a great episode. But hopefully
Yeah.
we can get him again.
Just go to see him. You'll be kicking about.
Do you have any like?
That was a really good clue, by the way. Very good clue.
Do you have any ambitions, specific ambitions, with stand up in the next year where you'd go? That would is it all like financial? Not financial as in like that's obviously not why you're doing it.
Yeah.
But do you have like a barometer of success where you go in the next year? Oh, if I can do that, that'll let me know I can keep doing this.
Well, I sort of look at it like Mikel Arteta's the Arsenal manager, right?
You want to be the Arsenal manager?
So he started and he's shit.
Yeah.
For a good bit, like, but he keeps saying trust in the process. I know what's coming.
Everyone's slagging him.
Yeah, and he's like, no, it'll be all right. I'm kind of like that. I'm like, I don't quite know what my process is yet, but I trust in it, and I'll make it work. So, thing I keep forgetting about is the fact that I'm doing the Ulster Hall. So, like, you're trying to function in all your like what they need to earn here, what they need to earn there, and I keep forgetting I'm playing a theatre like in a month. So that'll be a nice wee start.
Yep.
And for me, in terms of that, is to see how it sells this year, how the show goes. Again, I may or may not do it again next year, and just make sure that it's either at the same level or above. So to keep it being steady, because I think sometimes you have to do things in a steady manner as well. And
would you consider bringing like wires in and incorporating wires into the show like next year?
Oh, that's I mean, this year I'm coming up from under the stage via a wee like elevator thing to enter. Next year I might get lowered.
Oh, you actually?
No.
Because I was like, why I've done the Ulster Hall, why have I never been told that's an option?
Yeah, I mean it probably is.
No, if it was me,
yeah.
the thing would like it would not come up for ages, and people would have stopped applauding, and then it would take me too high up.
Then you'd just be your head up, and you'd have to actually you'd have to do the whole show like your podcast logo. You'd be like, all right, mate.
All right, mate, you okay?
But no, you like that's the thing. See, with your show, and like
it'd be better just
any big show though. Like they ask you, they basically you can do anything. You can cover the whole back. We can paint the whole place. But then they're like, we're gonna take all that out of your money, and you sort of go,
yeah, you go. Listen, I've got a concept for this.
Yeah.
I want to see some wood paneling behind me. I want like a brick stage and all this. And it's the week of the show, and they go, "That's $3,000," and you go, "Well, see whatever way it normally is. Have it that. Can you put a light on me? Yeah, we can do a light. Brilliant.
When does this episode go out? Will this be out after you do
2024
your last SSE show?
Yeah.
Can we talk about the big baby costume, because that was a lot of fun.
So
yeah,
for anyone who was at the show, you'll know, and if you weren't, you're Judas. But the way my show finishes is basically...
Is there a way that you can, like Dan, can stop people who don't go to your live show from listening to the tuning in the podcast?
We're working on that technology, yeah. So at the end of the show, I talk about my baby being really big in the show when he was born, and you come out as my son at the end of the show. Yeah. So many people said to me after, like, you're a terrible bastard. I thought you were bringing your son out.
Yeah.
Like, so many people did. But I've watched the show back from the first one at this point, and the pop when that happened was just class.
Well, I mean, do you ever come up with, like, stuff in your head? You're like, wouldn't that be funny if this happened? When I said, you should get someone to come out to... I didn't think it was going to be...
You suggested it?
But didn't think it was going to be me. And then at times, like, this would be good banter. But then as you're dressed as a giant baby, stand behind a curtain going, I am about to leave my job and try to become a credible comedian.
You're in a triple XL adult baby costume.
I'm actually not in a triple XL. let's tell people it's a woman's costume.
Yeah.
Because they only have and it's a weird. It is a very Northern Ireland dynamic, to be fair, in a male female couple. That like an older man will be like he'll wear a wee small or a medium, and the woman will be like a 24. Like that's a big Belfast hookup style. So I was wearing like a size 20 women's baby costume.
So that's a surreal moment where like you're backstage, about to walk out at the SSE arena.
Yeah.
To close a show, and you're like,
yeah. Well, you do think that in your head. You go, I'm actually going out to the SSE here, first time ever on stage.
Yeah.
Dress a baby.
Yeah.
What is
to
wrong
carry your
with
friend
life?
off stage?
But it was good fun.
You started talking to me during it as well, like obviously like the adrenaline of the show. At the end of the show, I'm like, that's the biggest show I've ever done, and like you're coming on as baby, and then at one point you were just like chatting, and I was like, what the fuck up? Because I
didn't think it was.
We sort of heard what we were going to do, and you were like, do you want it? And I was like,
I was just making noises. I was like Johnny Marino, just go,
I like that,
like Mr. Bean, like just
I
a
like
bit
that. But yeah, it was great. It was fun.
And what is your opinion, having played Ulster Hall, where I'm playing, as a venue to perform in, having played Waterfront and SSE? What are the pros and cons of each? Is there one of the three that you go, I preferred, strictly from a stand-up point of view, I prefer doing, or
from a stand-up point of view, Waterfront.
Yeah.
Waterfront, because it's bigger than the Ulster Hall. Like the Ulster Hall is probably more set up for stuff to happen in the middle of the hall.
Yeah.
Like a box, like because I think that's original, not what the venue is built for, but that's like what it's really known for, was these big boxing shows.
And the orchestras and the music and all.
The orchestras, the Conlons are bringing boxing back there, which is unreal.
They're actually promoting my show as well.
They are?
Yeah, making changes.
Is there an undercard at your show of just like scraps?
Just I don't have an opener, just have digging matches. Yeah, and then me.
So like that'd be perfect for the middle of the theatre, and then you having people around that, and then the balcony who are looking down at that. Like that's what that's meant for. And I've had real good shows there, but I think Waterfront, even though it's more people, feels more intimate because you're on stage. It goes up quite high, but they're quite they're in close to you. And I think the atmosphere, the acoustics are better on Waterfront, and it's just, that's the one where I was like, this is. Yeah. But I think the show was better in SSE for me. And you know what I'll have announced already what I'm doing next year. Yeah. I think by this time I'm doing Opera House next year, and that's not like I never really like. The more people come and see the show, the better. Yeah. But I don't really get like, I'm not about what's the biggest venue I can do. I did SSE out of curiosity, and I actually found it more intimate than I thought. But Opera House is nearly the same size as the Ulster Hall, so I'm going way back to do hopefully like multiple shows, and it's just to do a different venue. I like doing that. I like going around different places and seeing what it's like.
Because I did like the Waterfront in terms of the setup for stand-up.
Yeah.
I nearly fell off the balcony and died. Should have been pretty traumatic on your show.
During my show?
Yeah.
At what point? Because I fucking hated that.
We had to go back to like...
I'd be like Travis Scott. Like, honestly, if you fell over a balcony, I'd be like, who the fuck used to tell me to stop doing the show? Honestly, if you fell off the balcony and died at my show, I would think you were a selfish bastard.
Yeah, snaky big shit.
I'd be like, fucking drag him. Let's get a lot of guys. Yeah. Let's drag this guy out the fuccking freight loading bit.
The last time I watched you Waterfront, I was sat in the wings drinking tins of cider, and it was very loud. But this time I wanted to go into the audience and actually watch, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. Again, probably for me, I have seen most of your stuff from the SSE show, so but I hadn't really seen or remembered a lot of stuff from the Waterfront show. Cheers. So it was like nice to just go back and see the whole show, and I thought as a show it was cracking. I thought the SSE show was great as well, but just for me, having seen so much and gigged so much with you, it was nice to just almost be a fan for the night.
Punter.
Yeah,
a punter, because that's what I'm going to do your show. I'm going to probably watch from the side as you walk on. Like I want to be standing with you as you walk on. Yeah. And then I'm going to go sit in the audience somewhere nice.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good way to do it.
You can't gauge really from the side of stage, no matter how good or bad it's going. You don't know until like you're in where the audience are.
It's like a thing I like to do. If I was watching you, I'd like to see you do your show from like an audience point of view, and then if you're doing two, I'd like to watch and see how the crowd are responding to it as well, just to see.
It was so hard, like with SSE, to know how it was going. Yeah. Until I was about halfway through it, and I was like, "This is great," but like you're just working the audience, you're working the room out to see how do you do this, and then so I know for this week, which will already have happened, I'll know to like a couple of things like wait on that laugh,
Yeah.
because that's a great thing. Like waterfront's so big, but the laugh comes back to you pretty quick
Yeah.
because of the acoustics. SSE is obviously a far bigger space,
Yeah.
higher ceiling, so it almost comes back to you in a wave.
Yeah.
So you gotta like trust that the laugh is coming,
Yeah.
and it's probably 0.01 second for the laugh to come back. But when you're up there, it feels like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And how unnatural is that in stand up to allow for silence,
Yeah.
to wait for the laugh? Because
No,
then
it's
you're like,
hard to
what
do.
if I wait for it and it just, what
Doesn't
in
come, yeah.
real time, this is how I think it's going.
Mm-hmm.
Blah, 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 blah. She fell out of the bath. And,
Yeah.
but it's not that. It's
Yeah.
not that size at all.
Yeah, no, it was when I was doing Laveries last night. I did it a bit, and when a reaction from somebody hits you really weird. I was talking about finding a lump in my testicles, and I went, I found a lump downstairs. Thought it, might have been cancerous, and some guys went on his own. And I was like,
He loves it.
all right, mate.
Yeah.
What is it about? Whereas if I was in a big venue, I'd have waited 5 seconds for that. They'd probably be away. But what's this guy? This guy.
He'd
at?"
follow
But-
you to every show now.
But what I did think was interesting about SSE too is like because of the lights, it was almost like a black box theater in many respects because
Yeah.
you could only maybe see a few people. So it's probably good because you have your hour down, you
Yeah.
can just deliver your hour. Whereas like I think some other, if you can see people, then temptations to maybe have a bit of crack with them and they think, oh, he's my mate now, and there's
SSE
that.
do a brilliant job of, because when I first heard about this as an option to do big theatre shows
Yeah.
there, because it's not the full, if anyone thinks it's not the full arena, it's half it.
Yeah.
But they do make it feel actually like a theatre, because when I
Yeah.
first heard about it, I thought that's going to be just like cut the venue in half and then that's it.
Yeah.
But the way they configure it, the way they light it,
Mhm.
the stage is
It's
perfect. Like,
beautiful, yeah.
it's real
It is
good.
class. It is class.
but I don't know, like I said to you as well about doing like the year after next,
uh-huh.
maybe I'll do a real small venue and do like a long time
Yeah.
in it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean,
you gotta keep. I think if you do the same venue every year,
yeah. But
there's
it's like
like
anything, you need to have some form of progression. Otherwise, it'll get
Yeah.
stale for you. It'll get stale for people.
yeah,
If you keep doing the same venue, now obviously, say for me, if I sell X amount in Ulster Hall, then next year I maybe want to come back, try and fill it or whatever that is. So again, as long as there's some form of progression,
what would be
happy.
your like don't give a fuck dream show to do? As in like no barriers.
Mhm.
You can just do it. Doesn't need to be realistic. You just be like, that's what I would love to play.
Honestly, I don't have any goals that far ahead yet. For me, it's like I just need to make what is happening now work for me. Because again, I've been doing stand up now for a long enough time to know what works for me. But then again, I'm getting the wage in every month, so I know what that works. So for me, it's just being able to, live comfortably and be able to do bigger, and ultimately each show at each time. So for me at this moment, Ulster Hall, I'm sure afterwards I'll reflect on that and go, that's a big achievement for me to play a room of this size, and then just try to keep, make sure that people that come to the show be like, I have to come and see him again.
Yeah.
The show's,
Yeah.
that funny that I have to come and see it again. That's effectively
I've
all
got
I have at the minute.
a couple of goals
Yeah.
for shows in the next
Would
few
you
years.
say it?
Yeah.
Go
Because
ahead.
why not? Like,
Yeah.
and if it doesn't happen, like, oh, you said you want to do it. Like, I know
Yeah.
I want to do it.
One
but
of the best things ever wasn't a few years ago we had a chat and I was like, what's your goal? You're like, I want to earn $1 million.
That's right.
And I
in
was
a
like-
year.
And I was like,
Because
okay, yeah.
this was not like 2 or 3
Yeah.
years ago. This was like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
We were like, we should write down goals for the next
Mhm.
year, and one of mine was earn £1 million in the year.
Yeah.
It's fair to say,
Uh-huh.
it's fair to say that I maybe didn't make. I was maybe about 970 grand off it or
Yeah.
something more. My goals would be, honestly, and not in any order. I want to do a show, Sea Park, outdoor in Hollywood,
Yeah.
down Sea Park playing fields. Big outdoor show during a summer
Yeah.
outdoor thing. Then all three are outdoor actually. I want to do a Belsonic.
Mhm.
I want to do Ormo Park. And the other one is I want to do Kingspan Stadium.
They're all achievable.
Again,
For sure.
summer events, outdoor. Yeah, that's what I'd like to do.
Yeah, no, they're all achievable goals, and now you've said it, it's in the ether. You know, people nowadays are a big believer in that. That you once you say it, it's a
Good vibes.
yeah.
We
go
need
for
to
it.
get into all that
Yeah.
shit because we're not into all that
Crystals.
progression.
Get
No,
crystals
like
as well.
self-development,
Yeah.
progression, visualization.
Say it, it'll happen.
Yeah, we need to get
Yeah.
into that hype. You know, we need to be like
Yeah,
hyped about
See,
things.
a lot of people are hype guys, whereas it's like I believe, like I think I would argue that I'm both a glass half empty and a glass half full guy. Like
Yeah.
I'll be positive about certain things, but then other things I'll be like, nah, it's not.
Yeah, people
realistic.
be like the maximum. You be the you you've always wanted to be.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, why the fuck would I be the me I've always
see,
wanted to be?
yeah.
It'd be tiring.
Yeah.
I'm just about me now.
But see the
man.
way some people like they get all hyped up about everything. Sometimes I think, well, you're gonna come and see me be funny. Like that's it's not like
It's
an
stand-up.
It's not a life altering experience. We're not like
You're not
part
walking
of
around,
it. Yeah. It's like, oh my
Dave
god.
Elliott deals.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like, you know those guys come out, the preachers are like, I'm gonna suck the demon out of you, brother. And then these people are like, oh God. And you know, it's not like that. You know, you come to my shows, you have a wee giggle, you go, that's a good time, wee few drinks, that's a lot of fun. It's not like we're not on like I'm not a cult leader. You know,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
guy
yeah.
that wants to make
It's
people
silly.
laugh.
It's just silly. Like
Yeah.
stand up silly.
But listen, if people want to get hyped and want to get jacked and pumped, by all means, 17th of December, Black Eye Friday. I mean, should have thought about that when I booked it. Come out, let's have a dig match. Let's watch some comedy.
You know what we should do? As an audience, we should, after you finish, rush the stage and beat the shit out of you for Black Eye Friday.
I mean, that's insensitive.
clip.
It's
That's a clip,
insensitive
though.
nowadays to be urging people to do that.
Yeah.
But what I would say, unlike some other performing arts, I will have PSNI, I'll have event sec, I will have security. If you come near stage, you'll be tasered.
There'll be more event
Shot, in
sec than
fact,
audience.
shot.
Yeah.
Shot. I'm just saying, listen, don't worry about a taser, shoot people. And none of this, you know why now it's like you shoot to kill, because if you miss the knee, it could be dramatic.
Yeah.
You know, bring back the good old days, shoot people. I'll have the paramilitaries working my show. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're like Sinatra with a mob.
Yeah.
It's you and the UVF.
But what the good thing about it is, because I'm a wee mixer, I love a RA as well. I love a UDA, UVF, IRA, LVF, you know, Ognahuran, INLA. All the boys come all together. All the boys come together and have a laugh.
I think Oglehearn played for Hollywood with fucking Mickey Marino.
Olga Hearn and Johnny Marino.
Clip up what he said about the paramilitaries. Guys, thank you very much for watching, listening to this episode. My guest is the what's the something?
Flappable. Flappable.
Unflappable. Dave Elliott.
The unlistenable, unwatchable.
The chocolate panda himself, Ulster Hall. Big guy loves it. Yeah, thanks for watching. Manscaped 20% off free shipping. Patreon.com/teawithmepodcast.
By the way, if people want, this is another thing I don't know if you find this. People are like, how do I get tickets to your show? What you can do is, my name's Dave Elliott. You type it into Google with Ulster Hall, and then you get there. And then once you finish doing that, Johnny Marino or Mr. Bean, look for them both and have a good time. Yeah, 17th of December, Pillow Talk.
Brother, I'll be there.
Or be square, yeah.
We should have a kiss.
Yeah.
We should have a kiss.